Hi everyone, it's Miss Lauren from the Poplar Creek Library, and today I am going to share a fun science experiment with you. All right, so to start with this experiment, first you need to gather all of your ingredients together. The first thing that you need is white vinegar. Then you need some baking soda. Next, you need Jell-O. You need 6 different kinds of Jell-O: cherry or red Jell-O, green or lime Jell-O, purple or grape Jell-O, a blue or berry Jell-O, an orange Jell-O, and a yellow or lemon Jell-O. You also need a spoon for mixing. Okay, then you also need 6 small containers. So for this experiment, I am going to use small little cauldrons or pots of gold that you would find at the end of a rainbow. Okay, I also used a big container because we are going to have some bubbling action at the end of our experiment. So to get started, I am going to take my baking soda. I've already put it into a jar, and I am going to put a few spoonfuls in each of my containers. So the amount of baking soda you put in each container depends on the size of your containers. So my containers are quite small. Just putting a little bit of baking soda in each one. Okay, so you can see there's baking soda in each one. I'm going to go ahead and set my baking soda aside. And now in each different one, I'm going to put a different color of Jell-O. Okay, so you can put them in the color of the rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So I'm going to start with the red one first. And I've already opened my Jell-O. I'm just going to take a spoonful of the red, and I'm going to put it inside of that pot. Okay, and I'm going to mix it up. Then you can kind of tell if it looks pretty red inside, and mine looks pretty red. You can see that I can see the red Jell-O in there. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then I am going to put an orange spoonful in the next one. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, and now yellow. Okay, and green is next. Make sure I have a full spoon there. Mix it up good. Very hard to tell the colors of the Jell-O, so I made sure that I kept each Jell-O color in its box. Okay, so the next one is going to be the blue. Mix it well. And the final is the purple, or the grape Jell-O. All right. Make sure I have that mixed well. Okay, so now I'm all done with my spoon, and it depends on how you want to arrange your containers. All right, you can either pour your vinegar into a cup or you can just leave it in the bottle that it came in. All right, you go ahead and open it up. So the baking soda is a base and the vinegar is an acid. The vinegar just isn't any acid, it's an acid in water, which is very important. So our vinegar is going to act as a host where the base and the acid are going to react. During the reaction, which we're going to see, the baking soda is going to mix with the vinegar, and the baking soda, the base, is going to take a proton from the vinegar. And this reaction is going to cause the baking soda to transform into water and carbon dioxide. All right, so the carbon dioxide is a gas which is released during the reaction, and it's going to give us a bubbling effect. So let's see what happens. So next you're going to pour your vinegar right on top. So I like to start on this side and go all the way across. So here we go. And you have a very fun bubbling effect St. Patrick's Day rainbow. I hope you enjoyed this fun experiment. Okay, so my next experiment is called a rainbow in a jar. So we all know that you can see rainbows in the sky. Rainbows reach across the sky, and you can build a liquid rainbow in a jar. So for this experiment, this is what you're going to need. You will need some light corn syrup, a half a cup to be exact. You will need some blue dish soap. I'm using Blue Dawn dish soap. You need a half a cup of that. You need a half a cup of water. I've already measured a half a cup of water out. You need a half a cup of oil. So I have vegetable oil for that. You need a half a cup of rubbing alcohol. So here is the rubbing alcohol. And then you need 3 empty jars or mugs. So I have 1, 2, 3 empty jars. And then 1 empty larger jar. So here's my empty larger jar. And you need red, blue, and green food dye. So this is the red food coloring, the green, and the blue. And then you need a few spoons for mixing. So I brought a spoon for each different thing I'm going to mix. All right, let's get started on our experiment. So to make a liquid rainbow, we are going to start by pouring a half a cup of corn syrup into one of our mugs. So I'm going to set these 2 aside and this one over here aside. On my jars, they already have the half a cup line measured out. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my light corn syrup and I'm going to measure half a cup. Okay, there we go. You can see that I have half a cup measured out there. The top back on. And now we are going to stir in 1 drop of red food coloring, 1, and 1 drop of blue food coloring. And then we are going to mix it up. So you have to mix this one very well. I'm going to mix and mix and mix and mix. And you will see that it starts to begin to turn purple. So once you see that your corn syrup begins to turn purple, you're going to take your big jar and you're going to pour your purple corn syrup into your jar. So the corn syrup is very sticky, so you might need to scrape some out with your spoon. There you go. Okay, and then you can go ahead and set that jar aside. Next, you are going to measure out half a cup of your blue dish soap. So I'm going to measure out that blue dish soap. behind you are going to very slowly pour in the blue dish soap. Now when I pour in the blue dish soap, I'm going to pour it very slowly down the side. So I'm going to tilt the big jar and slowly pour it down the side. So you can see it creeping down the side of the jar. Okay. All right, you can see there that I have a layer. All right, so next I'm going to take my water. So like I said before, I already have my water measured at 1/2 cup. And I am going to stir in 2 drops of the green food coloring. So let's put 2 drops in there. 1, 2. And let's stir that in. Okay. Set that spoon aside. Okay, and now we are going to tilt the jar again and very slowly pour the green water along the inside of the jar. Okay, here we go. This one is very tricky because the water goes very quickly, so take your time. Okay. Every time I pour the green one in, I always tend to make a little spill, so you can go ahead and wipe up if you've made a little spill. Okay. And then next you're going to pour in 1/2 cup of your oil into the jar. So measure out 1/2 cup of whichever oil you have. Okay. So I'm going to measure that then 1/2 cup. All right. And now this 1/2 cup goes just right on top of that green water we just added. So we're going to very slowly pour that in. So go ahead and tilt again and pour that in slowly. Okay. All right. And you can set that jar aside. All right, so now in your last jar, you are going to put 1/2 cup of your rubbing alcohol. Okay, so we're going to measure out the 1/2 cup first. And then we are going to put 2 drops of red food coloring. 1, 2. And then we are going to mix this one up. Okay, set that spoon aside. Okay, and then we are going to bring our jar back. And we are going to very slowly tilt the jar and pour in the rubbing alcohol. Okay. So now, if you stand back and you take a look, what do you see? I see a red layer, a yellow layer. I see a green layer, a blue layer, and a purple layer. Liquids are made up of very tiny particles. How tightly packed these particles are determines density. Dish soap floats on corn syrup because the soap is less dense. You carefully poured the water so it wouldn't mix with the soap. Water is less dense than dish soap. The water floated on top. Not all liquids can mix. The oil didn't mix with the water. And the rubbing alcohol didn't mix with the oil? Which one do you think is denser? I hope you'll try this experiment at home and be sure to check out more experiments in our Explore from Home series. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.